Nope. That's when the WNBA's damage control kicked in.
So yeah, she ended up stating this: Marina Mabrey's technical from last night's Fever Sun game has been upgraded to a flagrant 2. Oh man, the league told ESPN a flagrant 2 comes from a standard fine. Additionally,
So Marina Mabrey has responded to the to everything that's going on.
Marina Mabrey just looked like she was just unhinged out there after looking at this, man.
The showdown between the Sun and the Fever turned into... Mabrey's reputation in the league is built on aggressive, physical defense, sometimes far past the boundary of clean play. Fans in arenas now boo when she even touches the ball, and sometimes Sophia Cunningham, who sparks controversies of her own. What's shifted now isn't just anger at individual plays. It's a broader rebellion against gray area officiating that arrives to a complete circus. 6 technical fouls, 3 ejections, and 2 flagrants, all in one wild night. But in the middle of that chaos came one explosive moment that had the internet throwing popcorn and picking sides. Marina Mabrey took a blatant action needed. Fans saw it as an admission that the officiating crew dropped the ball, and not just slightly. They whiffed badly.
People are calling for Sophie Cunningham's ejection from the league. People are commenting under Marina Mabrey stuff.
The league claimed that Mabrey's shove met the definition of excessive and unnecessary force. Okay, cool, but saying it's acceptable to punch a star in their prime as long as they get points off by the evening? Because that's exactly the dangerous precedent being set.
But Marina Mabrey commented on TikTok about the whole situation, and this is what she said. Every time they comment, I make dollars.
And what about Marina Mabrey herself? Did she shrink under the spotlight? Cheap shot at Caitlin Clark, shoving her to the ground out of nowhere, and somehow wasn't tossed. Meanwhile, Sophie Cunningham got booted without hesitation, and fans were quick to slam the glaring double standard.
Are here the night after WNBA.
What do these refs even see? Fans and analysts were scrambling to reconcile the split in judgment. It wasn't just Gloss's crew under the microscope, it was the entire league. Are the WNBA doing what it claims, or are they cooking decisions in the aftermath of public backlash? Are we seeing a system that corrects itself?
A fight night, Sophie Cunningham putting JC Sheldon in a clinch, Marina Mabrey targeting Caitlin Clark.
If you thought you were already furious, wait till you hear about Mabrey's reaction after the incident. Do you think the league should strictly enforce its rules and suspend Mabrey now? Let us know in the comments below. Let's go. Flagrant 2. That flip-flop speaks volumes. It's not merely a correction, it's a public contradiction. And now the echoing question resonates. How does a play go from not worthy of the boot to ejection-level violence in just a few hours?
Out with this statement saying, yeah, it was a flagrant 2.
Instantly, social media erupted. Clips circulated with captions like,
"Oh, and Marina Mabrey's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabrey is going to get ejected."
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
All they had to do was just eject her. All they had to do was eject her, and none of this happens. If the referees had ejected Marina Mabrey, nothing else happens. The Sophie Cunningham situation does not happen.
Then, after all the dust settled, didn't scream flagrant, but watching it back, it was textbook. The game's enormous stakes, Commissioner's Cup implications, Clark's rising stardom, and an already loaded slate of technicals shouldn't excuse a misstep this glaring. Referee accountability isn't just a buzzword. It's the foundation of a fair, competitive environment.
Although it's good that the refs did something about it, but they should have did something about it way earlier. They could.
The league sneakily decided to reclassify Mabrey's foul as a flagrant 2. No press release, no dramatic announcement, just a quiet update tucked into the league site. So now the big question is, how did the refs miss it in real time? And why did it take an avalanche of outrage for the league to react? Even more post facto, rather than in real time. In fact, arena tension dogs every trip down the floor when Mabrey or JC Sheldon steps up near Clark. The noise goes up, and the refs face instantaneous scrutiny. Either they make a defining call in the moment, or risk being panned afterwards. And once again, the black and gold enforcement is helpless to preempt the chaos. Importantly, will Mabrey face a suspension like commentators heavily hinted she should during the broadcast?
So, like, there are 4 players fined in that game. 4 players fined in that game, but the referees, the scariest part about all this is that the referees...
Not at all. She leaned into it. In a post-game TikTok that went viral, she cracks, "Every time they comment, I make dollars." No remorse, no shy deflection. This is attitude meeting self-awareness, and she's using controversy as branding. She's not backing down, she's redirecting. It's bold, maybe reckless, but it's transparent. Fans either love it or loathe it.
Came out with their report. They came out with a report and said, the contact made by Mabrey did not rise to the level of ejection. Additionally, it did not meet the criteria for a flagrant 2 penalty. And it was given as a technical foul, not even a flagrant, by the way.
We'll get into exactly how and why the WNBA overruled its own officiating message that accountability is optional, reactive, and contingent on social media outrage. Then there's the psychological toll on players like Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham. Caitlin reacts in the moment, natural human response to being poked in the eye, and gets flagged, while Mabrey's dangerous shove goes unpunished until later. It undermines the entire fabric of competition. Is the league to ignore? Sophie got the boot instantly, while Mabrey stuck around after what was clearly a more reckless and dangerous foul. The whole thing screamed uneven enforcement of the rules.
I don't see how you can say that any other way. She literally lunged at her face, and then Caitlin's there walking away.
And whether that fix actually helped, or just made things worse. But before we get there, let's break down the shove that ignited the firestorm.
A lot of it is centered around the last 46 seconds where Sophie Cunningham hard fouls JC Sheldon. She gets ejected, JC gets ejected.
Could have prevented all of this. They could have prevented every bit of this, but they chose not to.
And let's not ignore the elephant in the court: trust. If untimely calls are tolerated live, only to be massively upgraded later, what do fans, players, and coaches even believe in anymore? How do you explain to teams that react to a play in real time when the rules seem to shift after the fact? Not only does that shake faith in officiating, but it sends the message.
And she belly bumps her. Like, by the way, Caitlin with the shove. Caitlin does not move JC Sheldon. If you look at this angle, you can see Caitlin Clark does not move JC Sheldon. They're like, Caitlin shoved Sheldon. Caitlin literally, JC Sheldon's still moving forward. So
I think Lindsay gets ejected. And in watching the broadcast, even the broadcasters at the time mentioned if they would have just ejected Marina Mabrey, this probably wouldn't have happened.
Let's call it what it was: a full-speed blindside hit. Caitlin Clark didn't even see it coming. She was just playing the game, head turned.
As long as bad referees are allowed to do whatever the hell they want to do, as long as bad referees can get away with every single thing they want and can get away with stuff like this, nothing will ever change.
What kind of pressure are refs under when they're making split-second calls in front of tens of thousands in arena and hundreds of thousands watching at home? Gloss says she believed Mabrey's shove
was not worth an injection. So Caitlin dribbles. Look at how far she is away from the ball, by the way. Look at how far she is away from the ball. Like, that's literally, she's nowhere near the ball. She just jumps at her face. And then she belly bumps Caitlin. Caitlin retaliates by shoving in an unsportsmanlike manner.
It didn't hit the threshold.
The contact made by Mabrey did not rise to the level of an ejection. Additionally, it did not meet the criteria for a flagrant foul penalty 2.
But less than 24 hours later, the WNBA quietly overruled its own official crew, bumping the penalty up to a flagrant, and then, bam, Mabrey launched her to the floor. It wasn't just another hard foul. It felt personal. The crowd erupted instantly, and so did the commentators. Everyone expected a flagrant 2, maybe even a fast-track ejection. But no, Mabrey walked away with actually bears responsibility for this mess: the refs in the heat of the moment, or the league that swooped in only after the uproar. All eyes instantly shifted to referee Ashley Gloss, who, after the final buzzer, explained that Marina Mabrey's shove didn't meet the bar for a flagrant 2 or an ejection. That's why Mabrey walked away with just a technical foul and stayed in the game. Gloss was firm, live, basic technical, and the game carried on like nothing happened. The broadcasters? Stunned. The players? Furious. Fans? Absolutely losing it.
So Caitlin Clark gets poked in the eye. Marina Mabrey doesn't even see what happens, and she just decides to clean Caitlin Clark out of it. And the referees just said, nah.
Now, everyone's wondering the same thing. How are players and fans supposed to trust what's happening on the floor when the rules seem to shift minute to minute? The divide between what officials do live and what the league does after review is only growing wider. And the kicker? The refs and league can't even seem to agree on what's worthy of a flagrant. That's not just a bad look. It's a crisis of credibility. So let's cut to the chase. Who acted
According to the referees. And then Marina Mabrey comes from nowhere.
Within minutes, the clip was everywhere. Social media blew up with people asking the same thing. How is she still in the game? What are the refs even looking at? It wasn't just Clark fans either. It was neutral observers, former players, analysts, everyone pointing out how the officials were loose. Not forget, Caitlin Clark herself got hit with a technical for reacting after someone clawed her in the eye. Sophie Cunningham got fined and flagged for a play that didn't look half as vicious as Mabrey's. Every whistle felt like it came from a different rulebook. If Mabrey had been tossed when she should have been, the game would have had a very different tone. Instead, we got this patchwork fix long after the damage was done.
There's no way y'all coming after the game and then now you're
Losing grip on the game. Things only got more frustrating when you looked at the rest of the calls. Sophie Cunningham was tossed on the spot for a hard play that didn't come close to what Mabrey did.
At this angle, you can see just how far JC Sheldon is away from the ball. The ball's here. She's hitting Caitlin Clark in the face here.
Why wasn't that obvious in the moment? The refs had a front row seat, no blind spots. Anyone watching with one eye closed could tell it was over the line. Which raises a bigger issue. Are we dealing with just one bad call? Or is the WNBA dealing with a full-blown officiating crisis?
It is kind of,
If you guys are looking at my cursor, I'm sorry I can't make this bigger. My cursor. She hits Caitlin Clark here. The ball's here. The ball is 3 feet away from Caitlin Clark's face. And she just targets the face. She targets the face. Like, I don't know if there's any other way.
Sophie Cunningham was fined separately for her hard foul with 46 seconds to play.
That's right. They came out later and said, actually, we've upgraded it to a flagrant 2. Which, let's be real, is basically them saying, oops, our refs blew it. Had they made that call live during the game, Mabrey would have been ejected. No discussion.